Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fresh Cuts. I am Mike, and if you're listening to this episode, it's a little less fresh than usual because, as I stated on the group post, I mixed up the movies we were doing. So I watched next episode's movie before, thinking we were doing that.
Nobody cares.
On this
Just
episode,
say you fucked up and move along.
So, nope.
Wow.
It gets an explanation. So yeah, we're going to be doing Hatching, and that is a finished film. And maybe I should intro everybody if you don't recognize all the voices already. So what's up, Venom? How are you?
Greetings and salutations, brood parasites. Don't know what a brood parasite is? Just hold on. All will be explained. I'm doing all right, Mike. How the hell are you?
Doing well on the first day of a 4-day weekend. So
yeah,
it's setting myself up for some fun plans.
I had a half day today. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, mine kind of felt like a half day because I spent most of it actually doing errands and yard work and stuff. So
I played online.
Still working, just not for my employer. All right. Also here, Don Anelli. What's up, Don? How are you?
Kitos, ita otad minut vastan on hainoa ola tsala.
What'd you call my mama?
Yeah.
Hello, thank you for having me on board. It's always great to be here. So, continuing the tradition, if you hadn't already figured that out, finish greetings for everybody out there. So, hopefully that wasn't too bad. I'm only basing this off of a few Marduk and the Cythereal albums. So.
Excellent. All right, and then welcome back to the show, Derek. You've been on recently, and glad to have you coming back frequently now. So welcome.
God, yep. People are gonna think we're all wrestling fans here.
Is that the Undertaker?
It was.
God,
I was like,
did
it's
Derek just buy the
Undertaker.
WWF themes or something CD?
I had that original WWF album, or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
I had it too. Shit.
All right.
Hi, Michael.
Yeah, well, as stated, we are doing hatching, so I'll get to it with the synopsis off IMDb. A young gymnast who tries desperately to please her demanding mother, and what a mother it is, discovers a strange egg. She hides it and keeps it warm, but when it hatches, what emerges shocks them all. So, Venom, did it shock you? What are your general thoughts on hatching?
Shocking might be a stretch, but yeah, I love this movie. I had a really good time with it. I was thoroughly ready for a very slow burn, almost A24 style film where it was really going to be more of a character study, and then the finale would be the egg hatching. But I was so happy to be wrong about that. We get the egg hatching early. We get to see the great creature effects, the multiple stages of the creature, which we'll discuss in the spoiler section. Some great performances by the entire family, this incredibly messed up family, which we'll expand on that as well. Obviously they make themselves look like the perfect idyllic family on Instagram, but obviously if you see Instagram videos like that making it look like their lives are perfect, you could probably bet money their lives are not perfect. I mean, social media is the great lie. So I love the score of this film. I thought the cinematography was beautiful. I love the set design here. This movie is so colorful, a lot of pastels and bright colors, and just the art design of both houses. And because we have one really nice looking house and then we've got one kind of crappy looking house that's a fixer upper, and I think there's a metaphor there as well, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section. But yeah, I really love this film. I've watched it 3 times now, and I like it more and more every time I watch it. Absolutely love this creature design, and kudos for going with practical effects. Yeah, there's a little bit of CG in the movie. There's some effects that you can't possibly do practically, but the majority of this creature is practical, and it looks amazing. I absolutely love it. So yeah, hatching easily in my top 5 for 2022.
Mic drop.
Okay. That's a glowing endorsement there. So we will go next to Dawn. What did you think of hatching?
So this will probably shock a lot of people out there who know me and my tastes. I liked it more than I thought I would. I do agree. I love the idea that the creature is actually out and about for the first half of the movie, or at least it's the first act stinger. I also was anticipating, some like artsy or, A24 kind of film. It's all about, mood and atmosphere and metaphor. And then it's, how far is she willing to go to protect this thing, and, what's going on, between her and her family, kind of a thing. So I'm actually kind of glad that it went more of a creature route than it did. Again, the atmosphere is kind of fun, especially once things start ramping up in the second half, into the third act. Probably my favorite parts of the film. Lots of stuff going on, few decent shock scenes. Trying not to go too in depth here with some of the stuff, but I really gotta ask, who the hell called this a body horror? Because I could not find any of that anywhere in this movie. Unless she birthed the thing herself, I don't really understand where that term comes from.
I will say that it's very incredibly loosely body horror, only because of the quote unquote transformation that the hatchling goes through.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's. I agree with you. I wouldn't call this body horror. I would never call it body horror, but I can kind of see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that if it was body horror, she would have hatched the egg herself. And
Absolutely.
I mean, if it's, I mean, that's not really much of a spoiler, but I hear body horror, I think Tetsuo the Iron Man, Machine Girl, Meatball Machine, Videodrome, Street Trash stuff.
American Guinea Pig Sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like body horror to me. That's kind of like where my mind goes. This kind of not really. It kind of is almost to the point where to me this is almost skirting the boundaries of horror to where I don't really think it is one. It's close enough. I'm not really going to argue with it, unlike some of the other choices we've had on here. It's definitely close enough. But yeah, I gotta say, what a cunt.
The mom?
Yeah.
The whole family. I mean, the mom's probably the worst, but yeah,
Well,
that fucking
I
family
stopped
is.
caring about. Yeah, I stopped caring about the rest of the family when when she walked by them out of the dance recital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of stopped thinking that the family was ever really going to be much of a factor, and I kind of just focused on the mom. And I mean, Jesus, what a cunt.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of a big factor for me is we don't get a fully cathartic resolution to that angle, so it kind of drops a little for me. But overall, I liked it more than I thought I would. I still am not where Venom is on it, but better than I thought. Kind of. If we were doing top 10 on the films we've covered for the show, it's up there. But because I don't think it is a genre film, I don't know if I would have it on my list. But because of the format that I'm doing, where I'm basing my end of the year list on films covered on the show, it would probably be there. So not necessarily as glowing a recommendation, but I will say better than I thought it would be. And yeah, definitely worth a watch. I wouldn't necessarily go all the way in terms of genre classification, but it's close enough. I'm not going to split hairs over it. So yeah, pretty much where I stand on that.
Well, all right, Derek, where do you stand on the hatching?
I really enjoy. I love Scandinavian movies in general. Like even like I did a whole show with Finnish horror on the main show, then I love Finland. I love Scandinavia in general. I like that area of movies, like Sweden, Norway. And when I saw, I actually did see the trailer for this. I'm like, man, this is going to be like the darkest version of Sesame Street I wanted, But, yeah, it's a very metaphorical film. The movies that, if you guys haven't seen these movies, the movies that I would kind of connect it with, in a way, is the movie The Nightmare from a few years ago, the German movie. It kind of has a similar thing where the creature in that movie is connected to the main character in a way, without spoiling too much of that movie or this movie. And it also has some hints of, this is going to be funny, I'm going to say this right now, Bad Milo. With the way that, things go down at the end. Mm-hmm. For like the opposite, but that's a little too much into spoiler territory right now. Yeah, it kind of has that, and it kind of has some hints of like Goodnight Mommy with like some of the stylistic choices of the film lighten, which I kind of like. It's a very colorful film. I agree with Venom. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely a horror movie. There's fucking animal killings and shit in this movie. Without giving too much spoilers right away. And the creature effects, I was stunned and amazed at the main creature of this movie. And it was fucking kind of disturbing to look at some point. And yeah, I dug it. I dug it a lot. I don't know if it would be my top 10, because I've still got a lot to watch, but it's a contender. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, cool. As far as I go, I did like this movie quite a bit. Something that Venom brought up, where he was watching it, he was wondering, okay, is this going to be more A24 style, like psychological, or pure metaphor with what's going on? It's funny because I kind of had that thought in the first 10-15 minutes as well, because its total runtime is under 90 minutes, and as the story's developing, like, it's pretty unassuming at first of a movie, like just of a story. Like you pick up, like, obviously the mom being a very overbearing and not so awesome mom in that regard, and so it kind of sets up like, oh, this is going to be like one of those terrible family movies, and maybe everything that's going on later is just metaphor for surviving that kind of like fake facade of like a happy family on the outside but not on the inside. And I think some of those elements do stick with the story throughout it, but once the egg, I guess, is introduced in the movie, things start moving fairly quickly. It doesn't take long at all, as has already been mentioned, for it to hatch, for us to get the creature, and for the ball to be rolling on what we figure out is actually going on here. It ends up pretty actually straightforward. I thought the creature.
Goddamn
I thought.
gobbly.
Oh god, yeah. I thought the creature effects were well done. I do think Creature Features is a well done podcast as well. Plug for you guys there, but
Creature comforts, get it right, yo.
I know, Creature Comforts. But what else was I gonna say? I mean, that might be it for general thoughts, only because it's been covered between the three of you. I do agree it's a rural setting, but I love the green in this movie. Like the way, their yard is kept up is just a lot of bright greens, a lot of color contrast going on. It looks really pretty for being like a smaller scale movie. Whoever, was doing cinematography, good job on this. I do like the journey of our main character, her kind of navigating this crazy passive aggressive, sometimes completely aggressive family, and kind of like the way it ends with almost like a what do we do now type thing is I think some people won't like that, but I kind of found it to be fitting in this type of story. But I'm probably I don't know. I guess I'm closest to Venom, or maybe me and Derek are both there. But I like this one a lot. So
I'm not saying I'm not close to Venom. It's just I haven't watched as enough as you guys have this year yet to actually make a top 10 list.
Yeah,
that's fair.
For me, not only is this like a top 3 movie as of right now for the year, this is probably my favorite movie poster of the year. Did you guys all see the poster?
Yeah,
I fucking love this poster. I love this poster. Even though that shot in the poster doesn't really appear in the movie, it's almost like a swerve. I absolutely adore that poster. It makes the movie look so much creepier than it actually is, when you actually get in there, and rather than just like a terrifying creature feature, we're getting like, lots of subtext and metaphors and things like that, while still having a really awesome looking creature in the movie. So yeah.
And I kind of had the feeling they were going for like the parallel of like kind of being raised and growing up in this family is scary too. Like,
this family is plain evil. I mean, literally. And the end of the movie just personifies just how evil this fucking family is. For whatever it's worth, I am so glad that the ending. I'm going to save that. Actually, I'm going to save that comment. That might be a little bit spoilery, but when we get to it, I'll make the comment, because it's kind of a weird thing. There've been other movies that I've had this kind of connection to as well. Most recently, The Witch from 2015. So and hey, look at that. I'm comparing this movie to my favorite movie of the 2010s. So that's got to be worth something.
Imagine. And I was having flashbacks to Miracle when Kurt Russell was making them go back and forth through the ice again. Jesus. When she was having her do the pull thing over and over again.
Right. Just your standard domineering mother, I guess is the better word, helicopter parent, if you will. This is why I kind of talked about the 2 different houses in the movie, where mom kind of spends her time, and the dichotomy between those two. There's so much subtext in this movie. But ultimately, even if you don't do subtext, if you don't look for commentary, any kind of social commentary, and just take the movie at face value, it is an incredibly solid creature feature. Probably my favorite creature feature in a couple of years. Nothing off the top of my head really jumps out at me. Maybe The Ritual, from like 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, I love this creature design. I love this story. I love the different stages of Allie. Allie is the titular creature in the movie. Wow. Yeah, let's get to the spoilers section because there's so much to dissect here.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, folks. So that's your final spoiler warning. If you have not seen the film or don't care to see the film, go ahead and stick with us. If not, go ahead and pause here. Go watch this amazing film and come back and join us for the walkthrough. This isn't going to be much of a walkthrough since there's 4 of us here. I don't want too many people sitting around just waiting for a chance to talk. So first things first. We're introduced to a very idyllic family. They're basically putting up videos on Instagram showing them, just having fun and, supportive and loving and just, that perfect idyllic family. And obviously, any of us who've spent any time on the internet whatsoever knows that when we see a video like that, it's a 100% a lie. There is no way that family. There's no way that family is as happy as these videos are making it out to be, because think about it, folks. If they were really that happy and, that comfortable in each other's company, why is she taking time to take videos, edit them, and upload them? That's someone who's trying to portray an image online of I'm an awesome mother and my family is perfect. So, yeah. Like I said, that's a given. Right from the start, we know there's something fucked up with this family, even though they don't kind of tip their hat right away. But they do right here. In one of the early scenes in the film, the family is like together in their living room in their beautiful big house. Maybe not a mansion, but just like a really nice upscale home. And a raven crashes through the window and starts flying around the house. And while it's flying around the house, it's breaking all this crystal and glassware. Eventually, it lands on the chandelier and brings the whole fucking chandelier down. Tenia, who is the daughter, for those who don't know, mom and dad don't actually get character names in this movie. They're just called mother and father in the credits. So Tenia is the daughter, Allie is the creature, and mother and father. Oh, and Matthias is the little brother, the little douchebag brother, but I'm not really going to bring him up too much because he's almost a pointless character in the film, in all honesty.
Who weirdly looks like the fucing dad. And
yeah, kind of like creepily looks like him, exactly. Okay, so let's see. Tenia ends up capturing the bird without hurting it. She puts a blanket over it. She catches the raven. She's about to go take it outside to release it peacefully. Mom asks Tenia, can I see the bird? Tenia hands it over to her mom, and mom just unceremoniously breaks the raven's neck, just cracks it open, just cracks the neck, hands it back to her daughter, her fucking young, like 11 or 12-year-old daughter, hands her back a dead raven and tells her to put it in the compost heap outside.
Yep.
So, of course, the daughter is now a little sad. She ends up going to bed, in a little bit of a sad mood. But after she goes to bed, she starts to hear these screeches outside. It almost sounds like the raven from earlier, but there's something off about it. It doesn't quite sound right. So she's thinking, oh shit, the raven didn't die. Let me go outside and finish it off. So she goes to the compost heap and no bird, no raven. He is gone, yet she still hears him screaming in the distance. She eventually does find the crow, and raven, crow, whatever the fuck you want to call this thing.
Brandon Lee.
Rest in peace, brother. She finds the bird. It's just lying on the ground. It can't walk. It can't fly. How the hell did it get so far away from the compost heap? I'm not going to question that. But
magic.
Yeah, exactly. She ends up killing the bird, or putting the bird out of its misery, I should say, with a big rock. She ends up smashing its head. And after she kills the bird, she notices that there's an egg in its nest. That's what the bird was protecting. The raven was protecting its egg. She kills the raven, finds the egg, feels guilty that she killed a potential mother. So she ends up taking the egg home and keeping it warm herself. And this is where the movie just starts getting insane, because within a day or two, this egg starts growing. And because it's a normal size egg when she first gets it, when she first picks it up off the nest. And then literally within a couple of days, it's like it's almost the size of a football. And then after another couple of days, it's the size of a radio flyer wagon. It's like even bigger than that, honestly. It basically takes up all the space on her bed at this point. She's sleeping on the floor just to keep the egg warm and safe. And, we get more scenes in between here of Tenia doing gymnastics. As Mike said in the synopsis, she is a gymnast trying to earn her way into this competition that's coming in soon. She's not very good, not nearly as good as the other girls in the class. And, mom is very aware of this. So, like I said, the domineering mother that she is, we get multiple scenes of mom kind of pushing her daughter much harder than she should be, to the point that, this poor 11-year-old girl looks down at her hands and she's got what I call the mom is killing me blisters on her hands, because their mom is just making her do gymnastics over and over and over. That gives you kind of a good idea of the mom. More of a good idea of the mom is the fact that she is cheating on her husband with the handyman. The handyman's name is Taro. And Tenia actually catches them making out at one point. But what's funny is mom doesn't even really try to play it off. Mom is basically like, well, I like him. He's a nice guy. He makes me feel ways that your father doesn't. And
she said adults have special friends.
Yeah, adults have special friends. But the justification for cheating on dad in this movie makes zero sense to me. Tenia asks her mother, well, what about dad? And her reason for cheating is, well, dad is dad, and you know how dad is. And then she chuckles, and that's it. That's her fucking justification for cheating. It's like, holy shit, she's married to a cuck. Yes, my friends, an actual Finnish cuck.
Yeah, he just wants to play fucking guitar in his room all day. He's like, fuck that.
It seems like all he wants to do is play guitar and raise his son. Like, he doesn't have a lot of interest in his daughter unless he's scolding her for something. Or unless they're making an Instagram video and then it's all love and kisses and blah, blah, blah. But obviously dad is not as big a factor in Tenia's life. So like I said, we get Taro, who's the handyman for the family. Mom is cheating with, kind of screwing him on the side. So that kind of set up mom's kind of arc a little bit with that and kind of what might be coming from mom. And then we get our titular hatching. Basically one night after Tenia is scolded for, I forget what exactly. She's scolded for something. She ends up going back to her room and crying, and we see the tears fall onto the egg, and then we see them get absorbed into the egg right through the shell. Like, her tears just disappear. And instantly at that moment, the egg starts to hatch. And we see this just almost demonic looking hand come out. Like, it doesn't really look like the claw of a bird. It legitimately looks like almost like the lipstick demon's hand from Insidious or something, just long claws, black, a really just evil looking. And then and Tenia is obviously terrified, and she goes and hides in the closet, which is really weird because she spent all this time trying to hatch this egg, and now that it's hatching, she's terrified. So I'll forgive the movie. It's an odd choice, but okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't expect that to hatch out of it.
Well, no, she was hiding before she saw what was coming out. All she saw was one finger come out of the egg, and then she goes and hides in the closet. So,
for all she knows, she could have been a velociraptor, the way it was growing.
Maybe. So, like I said, the egg ends up hatching, and we get our big reveal. We don't get a full shot of the creature at this point. But as she's hiding in the closet, looking through an opening in the closet door, we see the creature walk right up to the closet door and just start squawking at her. Just basically start squawking, screaming, screeching, whatever you want to go with. They hear mom and dad coming up the stairs because they hear the commotion. And basically, as soon as the creature hears mom and dad coming up the stairs, it literally just leaps out the fucking window, like through the glass, just right out the fucking house. And when dad ends up walking into the house, because earlier that day they had a bird, or earlier, maybe not that day, time has passed by this point, but since earlier in the movie, a bird had flown through the window, Tenia is really quick to say, oh, a bird flew in here, to cover herself. To cover her ass, basically. Before dad comes into her room, she does cover all the egg and yolk and shit that's on her bed, after this thing hatched. She throws her comforter over it so dad doesn't see it. And, that's pretty much the end of that scene. Later that night, that evening, Tenia ends up, kind of accepting the creature. She ends up naming it Allie, as I mentioned earlier. And she even lets the creature sleep under her bed. And what happens on this first night is Teeny is trying to sleep. Unfortunately, her neighbor Rieta, as she pronounced it, her dog is barking, just barking incessantly. It's keeping her awake, and she's not saying anything verbally, but you could see the look on her face of like anger, like I can't sleep because of this stupid dog. And then the camera pans down below the bed, and instantly Allie opens her eyes. And you can kind of see that she senses Tinia's frustration, and instantly she leaves the house. Tinia is not sure why, because her mom walks in the room wondering what all the commotion is, looks under the bed, but luckily the bird is gone. And what is the bird out doing? He is out decapitating the neighbor's dog. Yeah, she unceremoniously decapitates this adorable little dog and then brings the decapitated body back to Tinia, almost like a cat that brings a dead bird home to her owners as like a present.
A trophy.
A trophy, exactly. So yeah, Allie drops this headless dog's body onto Tinia's dresser, and instantly Tinia's like, oh shit. Like she recognizes the dog instantly. She just met him earlier that day, and just doesn't know what to do. She ends up burying the dog in the house, in the garden behind the house. Unfortunately, little brother, while wearing the white paper mask that's on the movie poster that I fucking love, while wearing the mask, he's staring outside the window, watching his sister bury this dog. So obviously, Tinia's not real good at looking around before she does something bad, because there's her little brother. There's Matthias looking right out the window. And what does Matthias do with that information? Oh, it doesn't take long, my friends. Very next scene, we get a scene where Tinia is being reprimanded for something. Like I said, poor Tinia is like yelled at and reprimanded multiple times in this movie for shit that a child should never be reprimanded.
Yeah, like
for.
taking too long in the bathroom and shit. Like...
Yeah. That's right. There was a scene where Tinia was in the bathroom with Allie giving her a bath, but Matthias, it's the middle of the night and Matthias has to go to the bathroom. He tries to push his way into the bathroom. Tinia closes and locks the door and says, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. The next morning, she gets reprimanded for that. It's like, well, she wasn't in the fucking bathroom all night. Matthias could have just waited. Instead, the little kid pisses his own bed. And dad is mad at Tinia for this kid pissing his bed.
Come on, there's
bed,
water bottles. Come on, kid.
Yeah, I'm sure he pissed his bed on purpose. I guarantee he pissed his bed on purpose just so he could get Tinia. And that's the kind of toxicity in his family. Like even the most innocent youngest member of this family is a conniving piece of shit. So yeah, this family, I mean, how Tinia ended up in this family is beyond me, because she's basically an angel among these fucking evil demons that call themselves her family. Moving on. As I said, she's being reprimanded for something, and here comes Matthias literally just carrying the headless dog's body that he just dug up out of the garden, and he just drops it right on the coffee table in the living room in front of the entire family. Matthias tries to claim that she killed the dog. She denies it. I'm not even sure if we get a resolution there, if her mom actually believed that she killed that dog or not. But they end up just resolving it, and they put the dog back in the garden. They rebury it back. I think Dad does it. I think Dad actually reburies it back in the garden. We see him kind of patting the ground down as he's watering the flowers in that area. So yeah. Obviously, Rieta is looking for her dog and asking for help to get, to find the dog from, people in the neighborhood. The other thing about Rieta is that she's also a gymnast, and she's also in the same group of gymnasts with Tinia, who is also in competition to try to get this last available slot in this, big meet that they have coming up. They call it a competition. So now it's basically a battle between Tinia and Rieta. Tinia has no problem with Rieta. At no point is she mad at her. Is she upset that she's better? Because as it turns out, Rieta is way better at gymnastics than Tinia is. She basically does a move on her first try that Tinia couldn't do in multiple tries. And the teacher, the instructor, the gymnast instructor, or the coach, basically makes a comment like, ooh, looks like Tina might have some competition for that final slot. And you see Mom's expression just change and turn into this boiling anger where it looked like she literally wanted to slit the coach's throat for even making that comment.
Yeah.
How dare you disrespect my daughter? And then the rest of that scene is basically, this is the scene where we see Tina with all the blisters on her hands because her mother is basically making her work the what is that, the parallel bars? Is that what that's called?
They are called parallel bars. Yep.
Awesome. And I know nothing about gymnastics, folks. So, Teeny is on the parallel bars, and that, it's really damaging to your hands. We see these guys put on a lot of chalk on their hands so that they don't have as much friction. And no sweat coming out of their hands. Well, basically we see Tinia's hands just all tore up and shit. And, Mom finally is like, okay, fuck it, let's go home. We're not going to figure this out today. What ends up happening is on the drive home, Tinia starts having thoughts in her head of like maybe slightly negative thoughts about Rieta. And at that exact moment, we see Allie back at her house instantly react to something that Tinia is thinking about. The bird runs out, and what we end up seeing is probably one of the scariest scenes of the movie, where this is a legitimate like slasher scene where Rieta, apparently Finland is so safe that they let their children walk the streets at night by themselves. I don't know. Because this girl's walking home from gym class at night by herself on an isolated road. Like there's no businesses. It's like a country road. Yeah. And literally we get, like I said, probably the best stalking scene in the movie with Allie kind of fucking with her, walking behind her, walking in front of her, doing the catch me if you can or see me if you can type thing, fucking around with her. And then finally she turns around, Rieta that is, turns around and sees Allie in another form. Allie is no longer in her bird form. She's actually starting to look human. She's growing blonde hair. Her beak fell off. The giant beak that she had fell off. So her mouth is just exposed. It's just like dangling bits of skin and flesh. And human teeth are exposed. We see that Allie now has human teeth. I love this form. This form is awesome.
She kind of reminded me of that Masters of Horror episode, Jennifer.
Yes! Oh my God. Yes! I love Jennifer, by the way. But yeah, you are correct. I didn't see that parallel, but yeah, you're correct. So like I said, there's the scene now. Luckily, we don't actually see Allie kill or attack Rieta, I should say, because Rieta does not die. She actually survives her attack. But what we see in the hospital bed is that one of her hands has been cut off. So now she can't do the parallel bars anymore. I'm thinking, holy shit, that had to have come from Tinia's head and then transferred into Allie's, because why would Allie know that Rieta is a gymnast, But obviously she's got some kind of cosmic connection with her, hatching mother. So, So thankfully Rieta does not get killed, but she's all tore up in the hospital and her hand has been cut off. So of course, Tinia gets the spot in the competition. She gets the final open spot. And on the day of the competition, which is a Saturday, Mom takes Tinia to Taro's house. I mean, literally, this mom is so open about her cheating that she'll literally tell her husband, "Oh, I'm going to Taro's house for the weekend." Like literally, like nonchalantly with a smile on her face, she does this. And I'm just, and then she invites her fucking young daughter to go to her, her side piece's house. I do not understand what the motivation of this mom is to expose all of this shitty activity to her daughter at such a young age, because ultimately kids get their idea of love and marriage from their parents. That's the first loving couple that we're exposed to in our lives. And you're basically giving Tinia the idea that fucking around with your husband's okay. If you've got a good excuse, then it's okay. Which, that just gave me the creeps. Such a cringeworthy family. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So Okay, we go to Taro's house. Mom takes Tenia to Taro's house, and what we see is that Taro's house is a fixer-upper. It's all beat up, and I like this. I don't know if this was an intentional metaphor, but I kind of like how Mom's home life is that beautiful house, the idyllic family that she shows on Instagram, but then on the side, she goes to this old, dirty house to kind of be this younger guy, to fuck, right, to be dirty. And I like that metaphor because it's like a lot of married women aren't real happy maybe with their sex life. You know, their sex is very vanilla. Their husbands aren't very original, passionate in the bedroom, whatever the case may be. So they become bored and, they kind of look around. And like I said, the way that this family just reacts and deals with each other, wow, it's beyond toxic. Toxic is almost a compliment for this family. It's fucking evil. It's just flat evil.
Quick question: Do you
What's
think
up?
the mom does? Do you think the mom does anal?
I can almost guarantee it. A housewife who's not
Yes.
with her sex life at home, she's gonna let Taro do whatever the hell he wants. I
In
assure
the
you.
mud. In the mud too.
Oh, probably. Oh, yeah, definitely. Hershey Highway, absolutely. Anyway, when Mom introduces Tenia to Taro for the, officially for the first time, we hear a baby crying. Yes, there's a young baby in this house. And what we see is Mom go and pick up the baby and show her to Tenia, basically saying, oh, this is Taro's baby. His wife died. Yeah, I believe that. And, I'm helping him take care of this baby. By show of hands, does anyone not believe that baby is hers? 100% hers? I mean, it's pretty much a fucking
It could be, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to hide a pregnancy, too.
Right, because later that day, when Mom is outside doing like warm-up exercises with Tenia, we can see her being really stern with Tenia, like really focused on what Tenia is doing. And then literally the baby starts crying, and literally mid-sentence, Mom just turns her back and goes running to the baby. Oh, what's the matter? Are you sad? Like literally, she's not ignoring her flesh and blood daughter to go and console this baby that belongs to someone else. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you'll never convince me of that. That's her fucking child, period.
True.
Anyway, so later in that day, as Mom and Tenia are doing floor exercises, or I should say, as Mom leaves the house, she ends up having to go to town. So she leaves Tenia alone at Taro's house for a little while. While she's at Taro's house, fucking Allie shows up. Allie actually followed Tenia all the way to this place. Like I said, they've got a cosmic connection here that probably can't be explained. They end up, Allie, or should I say Tenia, sees that Allie is there. She's upset with that. She wanted Allie to stay home, not follow her around everywhere. And then she also realizes that if she thinks the wrong thing, Allie is going to act, and she's going to react, and somebody might get hurt. And it actually almost happens. At one point, Tenia is feeding Allie, and she's feeding her like a bird. She realizes she buys this big bag of bird seed and tries to feed Allie, directly the seeds, but Allie won't take them. She just turns her head. But then later there's a scene where she starts eating some of the bird seed, and she ends up vomiting. And when she vomits, now Allie is interested in eating. Obviously, for those who know about birds, most mother birds will feed their children by regurgitating food directly into their throats. So yeah, apparently, Allie has so much just, natural instinct that's how she thinks she's supposed to eat. So when Tenia finally pukes, now she finally eats. Okay. And we also see that Allie is turning more and more human every time we see her. Like I said, the beak falls off, the kind of dangling flesh on her mouth every time we see her starts dissipating more and more, forming like a set of lips. And, so at this point, this is where I start to kind of understand the metaphor of this movie and why I brought up brood parasites earlier. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. We basically, while Mom and Tenia are at the competition, or actually before they go to the competition, when Tenia is at the house, she's feeding Allie, and Taro tries to walk in. He tries to walk in, but Allie is blocking the door. Taro obviously is a full-grown adult. He forces his way into the room, but Tenia, the human Tenia, is hiding behind the door. But what Taro sees is basically a doppelganger of Tenia, wearing slightly different clothes and obviously not speaking, eating, this bowl of vomit. And as soon as Allie sees Taro, she goes to attack him. She basically lunges at him. Tenia, standing behind the door, slams the door closed before Allie can get to Taro. Unfortunately, Taro's hand is caught in the door jamb. He doesn't lose any fingers, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't break a bone or two in his hand, because his hand was stuck in there for a while. What felt like a full minute. I'm sure it was less, but it felt like a long time. And then Mom shows up to pick up Tenia to go to the competition. And Taro kind of just plays off the hand injury. He just says, "Oh, I hurt myself working around the house." And he does this because Tenia expressly asked him not to mention the incident, because obviously, no one knows about Allie, and Taro doesn't know about Allie either. Like I said, Taro thought that Allie was Tenia because they basically look alike. So he starts accusing, Tenia of attacking him, but she convinces him that, it's just because of the competition, it's nerves, whatever the case may be. And, they just kind of move on. Then Mom comes, picks up Tenia. They go to the competition. While at the competition, Allie, who is still back at Taro's house, obviously they're not going to take her with them to the competition. She basically hears the baby crying. She hears baby Taro crying. And instantly, I don't know if it's instinct or what, that she looks at this baby as competition for Tenia, because she basically goes to actually attack the baby. She sneaks her way into the upper levels of Taro's house, right into the baby's room, and she literally has her hand inches away from the baby, and then Taro walks in. Obviously he thought Tenia and the mom had already left to the competition, but here he is looking at Tenia about to attack his kid. Allie basically hisses at him, screeches at him, and then jumps out the window. Taro has no fucking idea what's going on. So, and the reason that part of the reason that Allie did not attack the baby is because at the competition, as Tenia is on the parallel bars, she senses, or maybe she even sees it, I'm not sure how it works, but she sees or she knows that Allie is about to attack the baby.
Yeah. And
what does she do to stop Allie from stopping the baby? She allows herself to fall off the parallel bars and break her arm. I forgot to mention that these two, because of the cosmic connection they have, they also have that thing where when one gets injured, the other one feels it. So
it's like a fucked up. Yeah, it's like a fucked up version of ET.
I'll go with that. So like I said, Allie allows herself her arm to be broken to stop Allie, but at the exact same time that she falls off the parallel bars to stop Allie, that's when Taro walks in and Allie ends up running away, blah, blah, blah. Mom and Tenia come back from the competition to Taro's house, and Taro is livid. He's absolutely livid. He's like, what the fuck is going on? I thought you took her to the competition. Why did she attack my baby? Blah, blah, blah. Mom doesn't know what's going on because they've been at the competition this whole time. But you could tell that Tenia definitely knows what the hell is going on. And at that point, Taro breaks it off with the mom. Basically says, nope, we're done. I am done with you. But what ends up happening is Mom tells Tenia to wait in the car while she goes into the house to try to talk to Taro. And fucking hours go by because the sun goes down. Like the scene started in daylight and then it ends in darkness. Mom, this is what I mean.
Sex.
Maybe. I mean, considering Mom's reaction when she came out, I'm going to say no. Because Mom comes out and basically looks right at Tenia and says, can't you even allow me to be happy? And then she just starts slamming her fucking head into the steering wheel and screaming at the same time. Slams her head into the steering wheel like 3 or 4 times, bloodying up her nose. I don't think she broke her nose, but it's, there's blood coming out of it. And, she obviously is unhappy with what just happened in the house. They end up going back home. And when they go back home, when they walk in the house, dad is there, father, and he's like, "Oh, you're back early. What happened?" And he sees that his wife is all bloodied up. At no point does he think, "Oh shit, Taro beat the hell out of my wife," which is the first thing I would have thought of. No, instantly he's, she just is like, "Oh, no, nothing, no big deal. It's not a problem." Literally just blows it off, and then the husband doesn't ask any follow-up questions. So yeah, this guy is a cuck in fucking theory and figuratively and literally. Let's go with that. So then that night, it all comes to a head. This is our final night of the film. Basically, Allie is starting to look just incredibly like Tenia, almost a carbon copy, except for her eyes. Her eyes are still a little jacked up. Not quite bird eyes, but they're still kind of in the transitional stage from bird to human eyes. And this is where basically Allie just starts attacking the family. She doesn't care anymore. She's sick of Tenia telling her that she has to hide and blah, blah, blah. And basically we have a situation where Allie kicks, other way around. Tenia kicks Allie out of the house, like through the window, but then dad sees Allie outside, just kind of acting all animalistic. And, dad thinks it's Tenia, so he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Get back in the house." And Allie just lets out a screech and runs away. And, dad is sitting there scratching his head, not knowing what the hell's going on. We end up going back into the house, and mom goes into Tenia's room to try to comfort her because of the competition and, everything else that's been happening in the family. And she sees Allie. Allie's sitting there. And she sees Allie in the closet and thinks, "Oh my God, what happened? Your hair looks terrible." I mean, she's not even dressed in the same thing she was dressed in 2 minutes earlier, but mom doesn't seem to notice. And she starts brushing Allie's hair like it's her fucking daughter. And literally, but the problem is that her hair is so thick and coarse and dirty that she's just pulling clumps of hair out until eventually she actually pulls a piece of Allie's fucking scalp off, like a large piece of hair with a piece of flesh and blood still connected to it. And then we look at Allie's head, and she's now got a divot in her head that's bleeding out. And at that moment, mom is like, she starts kind of freaking out a little bit, and Allie attacks. Basically, Allie attacks the mom. Mom doesn't know what the hell's going on. She's like, "Why am I being attacked by my own daughter?" But then Tenia, the real daughter, hears the commotion, joins mom and Allie, and walks into the room and then mom sees Tenia, the real Tenia, walk into the room, and then she looks over at the other one, at Allie, and she's thoroughly confused. And Tenia basically admits to her, she belongs to me. I hatched her. No follow-up questions from mom, because I'd had like 3 or 4 follow-up questions after that, but okay. And at this point, Allie kind of runs away and is hiding somewhere in the house. Mom then goes and informs the rest of the family there's someone in the house. It's not Tenia who's been causing all these issues. It's this person or thing, whatever it is. Dad and Matthias, like the little bitches that they are, go hiding in their room, while mom and Tenia are left to deal with this fucking monster that's marauding their house. We get basically a final confrontation between Tenia and Allie, where Tenia is begging Allie, "Just leave. You're free. Just go. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want to kill you. But if you stay here, something bad is going to happen." So she's trying to get her out the door. She's reluctant. Allie's reluctant to leave. And then mom walks in the room with a butcher knife in her hand, basically with the decision that we're taking care of this thing right now. I will give mom credit. She's an absolute evil bitch, but at least she's decisive. She's decisive. She has a conviction. I will give her that. So there's not much I can give that mom, but I'll give her that. She's a woman of action, I guess is the best way to put it. She grabs a knife. She goes to attack Allie to kill her, and Tenia stops her mother, basically says, no, I hatched her. Don't, she's mine. Don't kill her. I just want her to leave. I don't want her to die. Mom obviously kind of understands the situation, that Allie's not going to leave unless she's forced to. And mom basically makes one final lunge at the creature with the knife in her hand, and Tenia gets in between her mother and Allie, and mom stabs her own daughter in the heart. Right in the fucking heart, too. Not even in a place where she might be injured or something. Nope. InstaKill. Tenia basically falls down. And what we see is we see her fall on top of Allie's body. Allie was incapacitated by mom earlier, right before this, I mean. And Tenia's dead body falls on top of Allie. When she falls on top of Allie, blood comes out of the wound and into Allie's mouth. Also, at this point, I forgot to mention that Allie split her mouth open. Just a great little effect. Definitely CG, but I still think it looked really nice, really effective. So as Tenia's blood is falling into Allie's mouth, she basically does the final part of her transformation. The mouth, the rip on both sides of her mouth, her Joker smile, if you will, repairs itself, and then her eyes finally change completely to match Allie. So now she's literally a carbon copy of Allie in every way. And we see mom on the ground crying because she killed, obviously she killed her daughter. We see dad and Matthias kind of in the background in disbelief of what's going on. And then Allie gets up and says the word mother. And when the mother hears this, she actually sits up from her crouched position where she was crying, and she lets out this sly little smile, and credits. That's our movie, folks. Now, why did I bring up brood parasites earlier? I'm going to try to be as quick as possible with this. For those who don't know, brood parasites are a type of creature that through deception get another creature to raise their young. Birds, fish, and insects have been known to do this, but the most famous is going to be a bird, and that's going to be the cuckoo bird. Yeah. And anyone who saw Vivarium 2 years ago pretty much should already have the metaphor of this movie in their head, because they even spell it out in Vivarium when they actually tell you the actual story of the cuckoo and even show you images of the cuckoo chick pushing its siblings out of the nest. So basically the cuckoo will it'll lay its egg in another bird's nest and then leave. It basically has nothing to do with its child. Their child hatches, like the cuckoo baby hatches, and then it literally kills all of its siblings in the nest. If you saw Vivarium, you actually saw the shot of the cuckoo chick literally using its legs and back to push its siblings out of the nest and down to the ground, where they obviously are going to die very quickly if they don't instantly. And then the mother is basically forced to feed this cuckoo bird that doesn't belong to her. And there have been cases, I've seen pictures where the mother is literally, where the cuckoo, the cuckoo chick is literally 3 times the size of the mother, but the mother doesn't seem to notice or care. She knows that this hatched out of an egg that was in her nest, so she looks at it as her child, but really it is a child of another creature that has now usurped your nest. And that, to me anyway, is a strong metaphor for this film. The raven, for whatever reason, maybe it was because mom snapped the raven's neck and the raven was like, well, fuck this. I'm going to fuck your life up forever for what you did to me. And the movie just kind of goes along from there. So, and because of that, I actually like this movie a lot more than Vivarium. This one had a lot more action, and it was a little bit easier to follow. If you guys remember, Vivarium was a little bit of a mind fuck at times. And even at the end of the movie, you might not be 100% sure what the hell the message of the movie was. But with this one, at least in my eyes, it's fairly obvious. You've got themes of, people portraying themselves as a different person than they actually are. I mean, that's the nature of social media. And so you can make an argument that this movie is a kind of a holding the mirror up to social media, how everybody is fake on social media, or at least most of us are, and try to be someone that we're not when we're on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever. So whether that's the intention of the filmmaker, I don't know. I'm just saying this is what I'm going with. Like literally as soon as as soon as Allie says the word mother, and the mother looks up and releases that little sly grin, because we all know what's going to happen. They're going to get rid of Tenia's body, and they're just going to keep Allie and start calling her Tenia. and nobody will be the wiser. This fucking family is evil. It is this family is beyond evil. And so there you go, folks. That is Hatching 2022. Ooh, I tried to get through that as fast as we could. I didn't do it any justice. I assure you, with that little bit of a walkthrough I did. I skipped a lot of scenes, maybe not key plot points necessarily, but some cool set pieces here and there. There's beautiful imagery throughout this film, beautiful cinematography. The score is great. I mean, ultimately, I have very little to complain about with this movie. And, that's a rare thing for me because I like to complain. So, at the end of this movie, I was 100% on board and ready to watch it again. I wanted to watch it again right away, but it was a theatrical release and I didn't have the time to watch it a second time. But I have watched it 2 more times since it hit VOD. And yeah, I'm going to die on this hill. I fucking love this movie. I can almost guarantee, I mean, unless we get a gluttony of great movies the rest of the year, I can almost guarantee this will be on my top 10 at the end of the year. That's it for me, Mike.
Michael,
yeah,
welcome back to the
I
show,
do like
man.
your comparison to Vivarium. It's very much a similar thing going on here, presented in a different way. And I like when movies can remind me of another movie, but still manage to come off as original.
Yeah, and good pointing out the Cuckoo bird, because there was a movie from the 80s called Godsend, was kind of had that same concept too.
Nice, cool. I'll have to look that up. Because I like stories of brood parasites. That's what they're called, brood parasites. Like I said, fish, insects, birds. There's multiple species of each that do this, but the most famous, of course, is the cuckoo bird. So yeah, there you go. If you want to see a disturbing video, yeah, go watch a cuckoo chick killing its siblings. It's not pleasant.
Hell no.
Okay, then I guess we can wrap this episode up. So let's go around and find out where we can hear people and what's going on with their latest. So Venom, I'll start with you.
No More Room in Hell, episode 46, I believe we're up to, records this weekend. We're looking at a couple of Derek's picks, so I'll let him make that announcement if he wants. Creature Comforts, episode number 9, is currently in the can and being edited right now. It should be out before the end of May. On that one, we looked at Cloverfield, 2008's Cloverfield, and we had another guest, our second guest on the show, Mr. David Garrett Jr., joining us, somebody that I worked with on the summer series for the podcast Under the Stairs. Really cool guy, and he had a lot of great things to say about Cloverfield on this, so check that episode out when it comes out. And then I can only assume Fresh Cuts, we're doing A24's Men. So prepare yourselves for that one. You only have a few days to prepare since we're going to be putting out 2 episodes fairly consecutively. So.
Oh, yeah, and I already seen it, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then the one guest spot I did in the last couple of weeks, I just recorded it last night. That was once again with my friend, Mr. Bo Ransdell from the Legion Podcast Network. I once again appeared on his show, The Dark Parade. This is now my 4th appearance on the show, and I'm loving it every time I go. This time around, we talked about my favorite Universal horror movie of all time, and that is The Bride of Frankenstein. So that episode's not out yet. Like I said, we just recorded it last night, so I would say look for that sometime next week as you listen to this episode, and that'll be on the Legion Podcast Network. That's it for me, Mike.
All right, Dawn, what do you got?
All right, so as mentioned, we have Creature Comforts. Like I said, should be out pretty soon. Latest episode of Horror Countdown, at least as much as I typed this, is a list I did with some filmmaker friends of mine. We looked at our 10 most ridiculous sequels. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun with that one. So,
Quick question: was Bud the Chud on anybody's list?
I think honorable mention, but I don't think it ever came up as like an actual choice.
Because it's better than Chud 1.
Mm.
Because it has the awesome theme song. Bud the Chud. Bud the Chud.
Yeah. You'll have to recuse myself on that commentary, but yeah, other than that, don't have much else out, so that's it for me.
All right, Derek, tell us where we can hear you.
Do you hear me on fucking Cinema Attack? Fucking No More Room in Hell, where we're going to talk about some crazy fucked up 2000 movies, cut and drive through. Horny the Clown for the fucking win, motherfuckers. You know, our guest spot on Cinema Beef, where we talked about, for your consideration, spoilers, that movie sucks. And also we talked about Mascots, which I had fun with. The Fist for Life. I also guest starred on The Dark Parade. We recorded an episode on The Invisible Man. Don't know when that's being released. That's a little spoiler alert for that. But we also, I guested with Duncan McLeish, who did another episode where we're taking a journey through Gamera, where we looked at Gamera versus Jaeger, aka Fantastic Voyage, or as we call it, the Rape Revenge Gamera movie. And then we also, I guested with Duncan on Chronicle, where I looked at 1972's Italian/Spanish horror classic, The Night of the Devils. That's about it, but I have one more thing to say before I go, Michael. Rest in peace.
That was actually not bad. What do I got? Just No More Room in Hell coming out.
You got
something. I got news on something today.
You got cheese on your beard.
Yeah, I got something today. I'm not even really at liberty to discuss yet, so I shouldn't even say that much.
You got a kidney stone.
I'd probably be mentioning that as an agonizing pain.
Yeah, I think we noticed.
Yeah.
That's why he's been quiet. He's been mute the whole time.
Funny enough, one time on an old episode of Theme Warriors, I think this was pre-Venom era, we had to stop a show because Doug Tilley was passing a kidney stone. That was
that
wild.
happened to me
Wild
actually
days.
on Horrorcast too. Actually, it was during one of our best of the year episodes. I think it was best of 2019. Literally halfway through the list, we had to stop the show because I was having. I had been fighting the flu for the last couple of days, and I literally was like so lightheaded. I thought I was going to pass out, so I kind of made them stop. Hey, health takes priority over everything. So.
Yeah, I feel you there.
Alrighty. Well, our next episode is going to be on A24's Men, and
I'll go see it again this weekend.
Yep, it'll be recording soon. So, like I said, there's going to be a lot of episodes in the next few days. So.
And then Friday, the return of Cronenberg.
Yes.
Crimes of the Future. Yes.
I can't wait.
I should curb my excitement, but it's Cronenberg, and he's never disappointed me. So
I don't know. I kind of jerked off when I saw the theater when I went to go see Man. I was the only one in the theater.
Oh, really? Oh man, my theater was packed. I think they like A24 in LA a lot.
Well, I went at like noon too. So maybe that's why.
Gotcha. All right, I think Mike's got to get out of here.
Fuck Mike.
I mean, that's what I say too. But he is he's the man on the magic button. So.
Well, he could leave, and we could just roast him after. Michael loves when I guest on this show.
Yes, I'm sure he loves it.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll be back. I usually say in a week's time, but actually in a handful of days time, and get another episode out. So if you're listening to this, another episode is not very far off. So with that said, thanks everybody for listening. Let's say goodnight to the listeners.
It looks like a battleship. Didn't the bird look like the giant claw at one point?
Yes, giant claw. Oh my God, yes. All right. Have a good night, folks. Beware of evil turkeys.
Later.
Gobble gobble, motherfucker.
Peace.